Hey guys, Loresto here with VWorks. Today I'm going to drop some Lowrider knowledge on you about Kandy paint, Lowrider Graphics. I hope you all enjoy this video. I got some requests for a more in-depth video, so that's what we're doing. If you do enjoy it, consider dropping a comment below. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and maybe giving me a thumbs up. I appreciate you all. I hope you enjoy this. And if you want to get this finished here, let's go through the details here and I'll show you the process. All taped off the parts that are going to get candy anyways with the large flake. And now I'm going to do the water drops. I'm going to do them in 2 spots, which I'll show you here. We're going to go here, here, and right up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape around the edges of those 3 areas, and then I'm going to put paper around it, and then I will show you how we get the water drop effect done. Ready for the water drop effect. Next up, we're going to mix up some inner coat clear and put about 3 coats on there. You want it to be nice and smooth, and the water will beat up the best once it's nice and smooth. So you get the 3 coats of inner coat clear on there, let it get nice and smooth, let it flash off and dry, and then you spray your water drops on there. 3 coats of inner coat clear on, and it is just about all the way flashed off. Next, see how nice and smooth it is? Next we're going to add those water drops and then some color. This part here is pretty self-explanatory. You just spray the water drops on there until you got some, until they look the way you want the painted ones to look. I like to mix it up, get some larger ones and some smaller ones. Remember, the larger ones, when you first start spraying the paint on them, they're going to want to kind of roll or gather up and make one big huge one, so you don't want that. If that does happen to happen before you put paint on it, as long as you let that inner clear coat flash off, you can pat it with a towel and start over. All right, the first mist or 2 of paint you put on these water drops, that's when it's most likely going to want to roll on you, the water. So you're going to barely mist it, and then once it's got just a little bit of paint on it, then you can put a little bit more paint on it without them wanting to roll so easily. Your air pressure down super low. Just go from one side. See how I'm going along here on this side? One side here. You do not want to go on both sides. If you do go on the second side, you want to use a really light color like yellow or white, and that'll highlight them. But you can also run the risk of creating little TPs that will dry up and then flake off. And then they won't look like a full water drop. I found it best if you just hit it from one side and turn the air down super low on your gun, hit it right before the water drops, and you just want to let the mist, kind of the overspray, do all your work for you. So that's what they will look like. Doesn't look like a whole bunch now. You don't want to put a whole ton of paint on there, otherwise they do not come out as good. So less is more when it comes to these water drops. They're just a subtle effect that people will notice when they look up close. I like to do them in the center and the sides, sometimes just the outer sides. But there they are, and I will have to let this, it's about 73 degrees today, so I'm gonna have to let this dry overnight, and then I'll go over it with 3 coats of inner coat clear tomorrow. First thing, let that flash off and dry, and then I will be able to mask it off so that I can continue on. We are back, it's the next day. They are all dried, and now I'm gonna put 3 coats of inner coat clear on here. And with the first one, you're gonna start very light. You're gonna keep back quite a bit. Keep your gun back quite a bit. You don't want it too close or you're gonna blow the water drops away and they're gonna look like crap, and you're gonna have a hard time trying to fix that. And after that, after I get 2 coats on there, then I'm gonna go around the outside on these lines, the tape lines that I got on here. I'm gonna go around that with some Kandy green to give it a little bit of shading and make it look a little better, and the transition with the color will go in better with the rest of the board. But here we go, I'm gonna put that on here and then I'll show you afterwards. There it is, 3 coats of inner coat over there, over the outside, over the top I mean, and the shading around the outside lines, tape lines. And now, once that's all dry, I'll be ready to get it taped and covered up and head on with the rest of the project. Water drops all taped off, and next I'm going to hit this outer part, which if you look at this design, it flows in here to the middle. I'm gonna hit that with some Orion silver, which is basically just a silver with a lot smaller flake that will change the outlook of this flake here. Instead of it being big flake, it'll be really small flake, and it'll give it a different shade of green, which if you were doing a car or a larger object, basically most likely that's gonna be similar to the small flake, like an Orion silver. And so looking at it as like a larger picture, this would be like the car, the base of the car color, and then your patterns are usually going to be the object with the larger flake, the blingier look. So here we go. Got the Orion silver sprayed on there. And next up, let's add some color, get some Kandy green over this Orion silver, and I'll show you what it looks like then. There's that Orion silver with 5 coats of Kandy over it. I went ahead and went over it just around the outlines right here on the inside part with some more Kandy just to make it a little bit darker. I didn't add any black to that for shadowing. I just wanted it to be a little bit darker on the inside to give it some depth. Now we're gonna do some shading around the edges. And what I do is I just get some plain black base coat, and I just put a couple drops into, that's the Kandy green that's mixed in there. It's not mixed in right now, but so I just put just a little tiny bit, just like that. Bring it over and mix it in. And that's what I do for my shading. So far it's worked out great. That's the shading, and of course I can't shade everything yet because I will have to pull some tape so that the shading goes around where the tape is laying. But that's what the shading looks like with just a couple drops of black. Don't go overboard with the black or else it's gonna look kind of tacky once you pull it. It'll just stand out too much and take away from the Kandy. So just a little bit of black in your Kandy, and don't go overboard with the coats because you don't want it to end up black by putting so many coats on there. Next I'm going to do some streaking, Kandy streaking here along the side. I'll show you how I do that here. I'll just take some reducer, and then I'll get it in a fiber cloth towel, and not like dripping or soaking wet, just a little bit in there where you can feel it. And then I'll lay down the Kandy right here in the center of that pattern, kind of heavy, and then I'll go over it and I'll just kind of streak it outwards. If it doesn't come out exactly the way I want it to look, well, then I can just put a little more Kandy on there and do it again. Got the streaking all done, so that's the outcome. Of course, if it was on something larger, it would come out a little more prominent and noticeable. Along the outside, right in here, it was still pretty silver from the would just flake, so I went ahead and went around a little bit of that and just gave it some color. But there it is. Let's move on. Next, I just got some simple tape lines here, which I will spray a few coats on that part without the tape, and then I'll peel the tape and then spray a few more coats over it just to give it a different kind of feel, a different look, to separate the patterns. Here's the desired effect. I went ahead and did the shading around this here. And next, I'm gonna come back here and take this tape off on those couple little lines there. That way I can take these and shade around those next. All right, we got to peel this back here so that we can do the shadowing around that. Right here you can kind of see my pattern tape come up while I'm doing this. It's kind of hard to do it with the camera, but when you're pulling tape, make sure you pull from the non-pointy end and pull it the opposite direction. Doing my shadowing around there. Get a little preview here. Pull some of this tape up. When you're doing your shadowing with around a pattern with the tape lines going into it, you want to pull that tape before you add the shadow. That way you get the full depth and full separation look. We are getting to the finish line. So these little things right here on each side are gonna be my skid marks, I guess you'd call them, which you'll see here in just a moment. I'll show you how I get it, how it's done. That's what it looks like right now, and I'm gonna get it all set up. Another project I'm doing, I'm gonna go ahead and slip this in on this video so that I can show you how to do these skid marks. I thought I had filmed it on the last one, but evidently I didn't. So what you do is tape up both lines here on the outer part of your double tape lines. These are pretty thin, as you can see. And then I just take the width of this tape, and as you can see here, put a dot, 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 go all the way up. And then I start from the top so you're not laying it in the wet paint, and then go at an angle on your way down, and then just make sure they're even. And then you want to make sure that when it ends on the bottom, that this very bottom one is your beginning, so that it looks like it'll just flow better that way, in my opinion. You can do it however you want, but that's how I do it. All I gotta do is clean up some of the small edges where the tape lines were, and then shoot some clear over it. Then I'll wet sand it and shoot some more clear over it. But I appreciate everybody watching. If you like these longer videos, these more detailed videos on how to create lowrider or patterns, custom paint, just let me know, comment below. If you watch the video all the way through, that helps the algorithm. If you comment, if you like, all those things of course help the algorithm. I don't keep making the videos just for likes. If one person learns something out of it, then of course I'm going to get more out of that, just more people learning and sharing the knowledge and sharing my mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I still make mistakes, and I still learn from each small project. You can take small projects like this, and all the things that you learn from it, you can use those on a car, use them on a motorcycle, all those things. So besides pulling tape, this is probably a painter's favorite part, shooting the clear on there afterwards. And I went ahead and did a little voiceover here just because my air compressor is going and it's super noisy. So here you go. Hope you enjoy this little part here. I know I sure did. With some clear on it. I gave you a little preview earlier, but here's the 4 to 5 coats, probably about 4 coats, I believe. I don't really remember exactly, but 5 coats of clear. That's what all your hard work, all the taping, shading, and weighting, taping, shading, weighting. That's right. This is what it ends up with. Again, you could do the same exact thing on a motorcycle, car, roof, hood, trunk lid, whatever. Or another thing that I'll just show you here shortly in another video, but I'll leave that as a surprise. But anyways, there it is. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching till the end. I appreciate it. And here is a sneak peek. I did a short of it, but here's the long version so you can get a closer look at it. But this is magenta, house color magenta. Go ahead and go through this for you. Since it's sitting out here, I cleared them both at the same time. I had them both taped off and ready to go, so it didn't take me quite as long to shoot the color. But I really like this magenta. Yeah, it's basically pink, but it looks beautiful. If you did enjoy the video, maybe think about commenting. That of course helps out. I like seeing if it did help you or you enjoyed it. I always enjoy getting some feedback. If there's something you think I could change, go ahead, don't hesitate to let me know. But I appreciate everyone. Thanks a lot, and God bless.